sacredsoulpractice.com, logging on to go over the framework of the program, Safe Trauma Practice, the Certified Practitioner, Trauma Informed Certification. My hair is wild. I just need to plug in my device here. Hang on one second. Let me know how you're doing and how your day's going as you hop on. Okay, cool. We're going to just chat today about the framework of the program. We're going to go over the phases of the program, answer any questions that you have about the program, about the flow. Um, if you're on the replay, drop your questions below and I will circle back. Me or someone from the team will make sure that your question gets answered. You can also DM me and whatever feels comfortable for you, most comfortable for you. So let's just drop in for a moment, take a couple of breaths together. I invite you just to get comfortable where you are, feel into whatever is supporting you, your chair, if you're in the car, the sofa, the bed, if you're on your yoga mat, wherever you are in this moment, just drop in, just take a breath, release everything that's ready to go with your out breath, and call in grounding, nourishment. Hi, Diana. So glad you're here. Call in whatever you're needing in this moment. It might be deeper presence, it might be peace, it might be stability, it might be reassurance, trust, love, knowing that everything is always working out for you perfectly, no matter what it looks like in this moment. Whatever it is for you, call it in with your in breath and release whatever's ready to go on that out breath. And one more. And with that, I say welcome. So glad you're here. Let me just bring up my notes. So, the program, Safe Trauma Practice, it is a 6-month program. It's a certification for practitioners, healers, therapists, teachers, for whoever is wanting to be trauma informed in the work that they are doing. And here's the thing, trauma informed goes beyond just being aware of someone's trauma, right? It's like when you see a doctor or medical profession, you need or you desire someone who has a comprehensive knowledge of what's going on for you and how to best support you. So I don't want to go to a doctor who just has a general sense of medicine, but no actual training around whatever I'm seeing them for, right? And so when we think about trauma informed, it's like it's a body of work that really supports you in being aware of your client's history, what's happened to them, what has happened in their experience. It's going to really include like the social lens of a person, so where they came from, cultural competency, right? Like, are there cultural factors that have impacted their experience that has made life easier or harder for them, right? We want to really think about how someone is seen in the world, how they see themselves, right? All of these are factors that you can begin to really assess in the first couple of sessions, we're going to go into the program around the kind of pre-work and questionnaires that you can create to help you have a snapshot. Hi guys. Before you really begin the deeper work with someone, right? To make sure it's a good fit. There are really elegant screening processes that are not complicated, that are not super high tech, right? This can be an email, honestly, but it's really getting to know someone and where they come from. That helps you shape the lens and the container in which you all will work. And so when we think about the foundations of the trauma informed framework, we're saying, okay, as a coach, I'm going to work with highly functional people who have a goal they're wanting to accomplish in their work with me as their coach. Okay, boom, perfect. Then we're wanting to really see how to best form that work, that container, that package to really support someone, or that group program to really support someone to get the outcomes that they are seeking while you're operating in your zone of genius, while you are creating systems and structures in the way you work and how you work that best support you. So maybe one on one is your thing and you know that and you're good with it. Maybe you're wanting to dip your toe into the group program pond and you're wanting to see how that could work if you like it, if it lights you up, right? You may work through like a small beta version of something, right? To see how you're liking it. In this program, what I love about this cohort is we're going to focus in on a goal that you're wanting to focus on professionally, right? During a 90-day period. So essentially, we're together for 6 months in this current cohort. So it's going to run from September through February. You could have two goals, right? So two 90-day goals that you're going to work on, but one for each 90-day cycle. So I'm going to really support you in going deep and getting clear on what you're creating, right? And so in this foundations section of the program, that's phase one, foundations, we're going to really go over your values, your intentions, how to really support you um, to get the most out of the program and get clear on what you're wanting to create while you're in this container. We're going to continue. Hang on one second. When your notes just disappear, hang on, guys. They're here. No worries. We're going to continue with an overview of. Perfect here. Sorry. Right. We're going to move through your vision, your values, setting your intention. We're going to go through how to best engage with the program, ways to really have this be a highly successful experience for you. We're going to go through what are the current traps in the personal development industry that we all can easily fall into. Some of them are like we fall into the traps of like wanting to fix everything that's wrong with us, quote unquote, wanting to move through every limiting belief, wanting to move through every stuck point. And sometimes like the healing and the evolving and the transforming can become like an addiction itself. So we really want to be mindful that we are aware of what the traps and hazards are that are specific for us. So we're going to get clear on what are the things that you fall into. It might be procrastination, it might be overwhelm, it might be setting yourself up for failure because you're really scared of success. We're going to figure out what your traps are and troubleshoot those so that we can create from the beginning a system for you that works well. We're going to move through creating the right context for what you're wanting to do with the work. So within this program, yes, but also within your work, and specifically the 90-day goal that you're going to be working on while in the program. We're going to move through what it is to really be in disempowerment versus embodiment, how to really dial in to those energies and know when they're coming up in any given day for yourself, and then how to identify this with your clients. We're also going to deep dive into emotional safety, emotional measures, getting clear on what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you want to be working with, in what ways you want to work with them, and what are the parameters for who you don't want to work with, and for people who are just what they're needing isn't what you're wanting to be working with. So how to really create those boundaries in your programs, in your offerings, so that you're clear on who's coming in, and the work that you want to do, so that you're creating a business, really trauma-informed business, that makes you happy, that lights you up, that you feel deeply in service to, not just doing something for money, right? Because many of us are moving out of that energy. We're wanting meaningful work, we're wanting deep work, that helps us feel connected and fulfilled, that provides impact and income, that we can truly focus on the trauma informed work that we're here to do. So, we're going to help you set up yourself for success and then go over. Diana, I see you. It's not showing frozen on my end. Let me double check the Wi Fi. I know we've been having, yep. Let me know how it goes for you. Give it a minute or two and see if it is better. So far, so good on my end. Thank you for sharing, though. And I'm sending lots of tech love and support for all of us, covering protection. Um, from there, we're going to go more deeply into you, the foundations of you, getting clear on where your stuck points are, where you're struggling, even just in your own experience, to make sure that you are really integrated in your own experience as we begin to move into the framework and the methods. And so, phase two is reclamation. That's the part where we're going to support you in reclaiming your inner self, your highest self, so that you can embody the work that we are heading into, which means dealing with all of our own stuff, our stuck points, where we feel insecure, where we're holding back, where we're shrinking, where we're playing small. We're going to do the unconscious work. Perfect, Diana. We're going to do the unconscious work for you so that you see the impact and the result of it firsthand with the tools that we're going to be working with. And then we'll go deeper into the facilitation portion, where we support you in embodying and facilitating and teaching and holding space for those same methods. We don't want you to be sharing frameworks and methods that you yourself don't feel comfortable with. So it's going to be lots of practice, lots of time for integration, lots of time to really feel familiar and at home with the tools, with the frameworks, and with the methods. From there, we're going to move into trauma. Part one, what is trauma? We're going to look at developmental trauma, acute trauma, what is safe for coaching, and what needs to be work that's done with a licensed therapist. We're going to talk about, as we've been sharing in this masterclass series, the window of tolerance, really getting clear on what that is for you personally and for your clients, how to help establish what their window of tolerance is, so that they see the signs, so that you see the signs, so that you're aware if the work is safely in that window of tolerance, even if there's edginess, even if there's discomfort, even if there's, big feelings. That is okay and can be expected whenever we're doing transformational work. But it's very important to know when that work comes out of the window of tolerance, because that's a sign that a person's nervous system might need more specialized support in processing that, right? And moving through that before they do some of the higher level work within coaching. So you're going to be clear on that and be able to facilitate that clarity for your clients. We're also going to go into developmental trauma, early trauma, what is called pre-verbal trauma. So when things happen before we're even able to speak as children, that energy can be locked in our bodies and it comes out through symptoms, through behaviors, through challenges, through stuck points. So oftentimes when we're thinking about like a mindset practice, when someone's coming to coaching and if all the tools we have are just mindset, we're going to try and work with somebody, right, like with their behaviors, with how they think, a very cognitive behavioral approach, when really oftentimes stuck points and challenges folks are having are coming from earlier years, developmental kind of trauma and experiences that doesn't have to be like lifetime movie kind of traumatic, though it can be. And there are simply misunderstandings within our nervous system that unconscious work and subconscious work is going to help you move through. We get to that later in the program, but in this phase, what is trauma? Unpacking it. We're going to go through, like I said, developmental trauma, intergenerational trauma, the epigenetics of trauma, so kind of like the neuroscience of trauma. Um, these are not going to be like deep dives because each one of these could be a program all by itself, but it's going to give you an overview so that you know what you're doing, so that you understand the language of the work that you're doing. And then there are programs and opportunities to go deeper on this if you want to do that, and we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about collective trauma and really how to bring resources to all of this as we look at it as a body of work. Then we will continue, like I said, to the reclamation, where we go over you, your stuck points, your challenges to help you work through it. We're going to utilize tools to support the process and your own deeper regulation and moving through your own stress responses and really creating nervous system regulation for you more deeply. Some people may be at a more beginner stage and need more support with that. Absolutely fine. Some of you maybe have doing this for a while. It's like old hat to you. Also fine, because you're going to have ways and tools to up level wherever you are, whether you're in the beginning stages or you're looking to go deeper. This program has you. You're going to feel safe and held, and like you're really gaining an immense amount of value from it. It's been designed that way. We're also going to support you in making peace with structure and systems to support your life and your business. When we look at healing the feminine and masculine energy within ourselves and how it shows up in our businesses, how it shows up in our leadership, there are often misunderstandings that, again, can be unconscious and subconscious that get turned up when we start to go out of our comfort zone, when we start to move past our resistance. Those things can come up, and there are ways to move through it with grace and with more ease than maybe what we've known. And so there are specific tools that we'll go over that will focus on your grounding, being able to bring that as a facilitator to your sessions with your clients to help them to feel safe. We're also going to be going into what is the bottoms up methodology in terms of working from the inside out, working really from our inward nervous system outward into our physical reality. And there are tools that really support that. We're going to work on deeper integration practices to really support that process. From there, it's like trauma 2.0. We're going to go deeper with learning about the different nervous systems, polyvagal theory. We're going to go into briefly trauma and memory so that you begin to connect the dots around why is someone having symptoms of something that happened 30 years ago. They don't really have any memory of it, but they're stuck in their work, they're stuck in their relationships, they're scared of commitment, they're scared of playing full out in their business. They're scared of marketing their work. They're scared of asking for what they want in relationships, in work, right? They have money trauma, and they've taken programs and they still are in shutdown. This is where we're gonna go into the trauma imprint, so and teach you how to really recognize where the origin point is. We briefly referenced that on our last live when I talked about the trauma informed session tracker. Those aspects we will go deeper into in the program, because as you go deeper, that's where you see and are able to unpack the traumatic imprint that your client has, that you have, how our systems work together when we're in session and in containers together, and how you can get triggered as the professional, how the client can feel triggered, how those dynamics can play out, how to really be aware of them so that you can be proactive in preventing breakdowns, right? Breakdowns are going to happen in whatever we're doing, but there's a way, the trauma informed framework teaches us there's a way to work through conflict resolution with grace, with integrity, with vulnerability, because safe space has been created. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over trauma and relationships, trauma and our own personal worldview, and how that impacts our clients and their worldview, and how unpacking some of that can be helpful in the questions that we ask, in the assessments that we do, in the pre-work that we do. Having clear intentions are gonna help us to really be aware of our worldview, our clients' worldview, and what the expectations are, spoken and unspoken. When we're able to do that, we really cut out a lot of this trauma drama that's unnecessary. For us, for people that we're working with, we're really able to call people forward on their journey of leadership. We're able to call people forward in their journey of really taking personal responsibility for their results, for their actions, right? For really being able to commit to what you say you want and follow through on it, right? To accept being coached by someone, or deciding this is not for me and making decisions. And so when we are able to look at that trauma and worldview, it's going to help you get really clear on who you want to work with, who you don't, what kinds of issues you want to work with, and what kind that you don't. So it's very clear when we can get out of this survival mentality. We aren't just taking on clients because we need money. We aren't just taking on projects and programs that are out of alignment, right? We're going to really create structures for you to create impact and income, so you're in the driver's seat of what you're wanting to create, and how the gift that you have wants to be shared in the world, being fully trauma informed, right? We're going to really work with meeting sensation, working with it. We're going to learn the practice of tending and befriending. That's going to lead us into our modules on parts work, how to really do that in a coaching container powerfully, but also within someone's window of tolerance. From there, we're going to move into, I've changed some of the flow of the phases. So I want to just make sure I'm giving it correctly. Foundations of you and trauma, phase one. Reclamation, your own personal reclamation, phase two. For phase three, embodied facilitation, we're going to go through really how to put the practices and tools, the trauma informed framework, the safe trauma practice method. We're going to have gone over those. And then when we get into embodied facilitation, we're going to go over how to really put that into practice consistently. So we're talking about how to really hold space as a practitioner, how to become attuned with your own nervous system and your clients while in session, so that you can sense the things that are not being said, so that you can learn to read more body language, so that you can really develop your intuitive gifts that are necessary for this kind of transformative work. We're going to really look at what mirroring is, what transference is, how to work through that, really looking at co-regulation that happens in session, how to do it well. It's not a complicated or fancy process. It really is about presence, about grounding, right, beforehand, really being able to hold the space well. And there are tools, practices, things that can support that process so it becomes as easy as brushing your teeth. You're not going to have like this 500-page manual with you to do this work. There will be cheat sheets and things like that that you can have with you, of course. Postgraduate school in my mental health organization that I worked for, I had papers pinned up on the walls, cheat sheets, post-it notes, all sorts of things, because I wanted to be sure that I was doing it right. And what I learned was when I was able to tune into myself, my own knowing, my own knowledge base, being able to trust myself really deeply and truly, all that I needed to know came forth. Now, of course, there are certain kinds of things that you will have up. That can be supportive. The frameworks themselves, the acronyms, the methods can be helpful if you feel like you have gone out of order and you want to track back and go back into a previous phase of the framework. We will have aids like that to help you. And we'll also work on you deeply trusting your intuition with the process. And so we're going to then go into a deeper emotional intelligence around that embodied facilitation, where we're going to learn how to really work with emotion, how to um, make it safe to deal with an array of emotion. Oftentimes, we don't always feel safe to deal with our own emotion. Therefore, we can feel challenged in supporting others and dealing with theirs, even though we feel like I should be able to do this, right? I had so much pressure on myself as a young clinician, and even as a newer coach, I was like, how do I really integrate what I know and bring it to session without overwhelming people, but also making sure that they're getting good value? There are nuances. There are also um, there's a method that can help you conceptualize it in your mind and how you think about it and then how you deliver it. We're going to work with the core stories, the core wounds, and with emotion that a lot of people go through. We're going to help you identify how to spot and how to help your clients get in touch with their core wounds, their core stories, how to work with shame. Shame is a huge element to the transformation process and to really supporting people in unpacking the imprint, the traumatic imprint. It's really learning how to move through shame, and I'm gonna support you in being able to do that well. We're gonna work through some of the energies that can be really edgy for people, anger and rage, and how to allow it to move through one's body and be able to support that process. We're gonna support you in unpacking any kind of vulnerability or edginess that you have in working with some of these energies, anger and rage and shame. If working with big emotion doesn't feel safe for you, it can impact the work you're doing with clients. So being able to do the practice sessions, being able to bring case studies to session, to be getting your practicum hours while you're in the program is going to support you in getting feedback on what you're doing, what you're learning, and how you're incorporating it in order to integrate it. We're going to learn how to work with fear and the contrast of fear and safety, how to really pendulum between both of those. It's a practice, it's a tool. We're going to work through that. We're going to really learn how to deep dive into emotional survival patterns. There's this real archetype of the survival self, and we it benefits us from learning about our own survival self, getting in touch with that part of us so that we can identify a client's survival self, how it's showing up, how it's acting out, how it's sometimes, oftentimes, running the show, even when our client isn't even aware that it's their survival part that's running the show. Oftentimes, we as the practitioner aren't aware, but our survival self can be running the show. We're gonna talk a lot about and create your boundaries, your personal boundaries, your business boundaries, because sometimes that survival self for you can come out and be interacting with the survival self of your client. That's when things can get messy. When we just are not holding boundaries, it can lead to our own burnout, our own exhaustion, our own depletion. I've been there for so long. It's still something that I work through, just to hold the boundary and not spread myself thin trying to accommodate people, right? Because the truth is, sometimes we can't accommodate all things, and to go down that rabbit hole just creates unnecessary drama. But sometimes we're stuck in our people pleasing, sometimes we're stuck in our survival self energy, and that's what comes up. So learning how to navigate that, we're going to go deep. You're going to be squared away and clear on it before the program ends. We're going to really get clear on the difference between emotions and states, and how to help our clients with this, how to navigate it, how to define where your baseline is, but also um, where you shift into if you are overwhelmed, if you um, are just in different seasons of your life, how to notice where you are and get back to where you want to be, where your intentional state is. We're going to review sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system responses, how to help your clients shift in and out of that. We're going to go deep in a module around the conscious, the conscious, the unconscious, the subconscious, and the body. How to really understand the language of the unconscious mind, how to really understand and identify and spot unconscious core beliefs, how to really um, tap into the nuances of the conscious and subconscious mind, and how that impacts us and our clients, and how to work with it, how to really define our choices, how to make embodied choices, how to really come into a more conscious state. Um, and support our clients in doing the same thing, how to really work with resistance, unconscious self sabotage. That's all part of the traumatic imprint that happened when we experience trauma, and often when we don't integrate it, it's still running this show and we aren't even aware of it. So when we are able to really work with core beliefs, core stories, core emotions on the conscious, unconscious, and subconscious level, and how all of that trifecta plays out in our bodies, that is really a game changer for most. It changed my life. I know many of our students that have done this work in a previous model of this program, were truly impacted by that deeper unconscious work. And we're going to go deeper with my method on this in this cohort, and I'm excited about it. We're going to go more deeply into the body and just how it processes trauma, how trauma gets stuck, the archetypes that are created that goes directly into the parts work. We're going to go into that. We're going to go into really presence, how to cultivate it, how to tap into it, how to help your clients tap into it and trust it. We're going to do some work around addiction, best practices for working with addiction, when someone should be referred to someone who specializes in addictions treatment. But we're going to go into what it is, what causes it, trauma and addiction, how some of us are predisposed to becoming addicted, and it's not just about drinks or drugs or sex or food. It's deeper than that. It's a real it's based in neuroscience and attachment trauma and the traumatic imprint that happened in our earlier years, and the trauma response can be leaning toward addictive behaviors. There's ways to really conceptualize that and unpack it in a way that is inclusive and in integrity and remains within the coaching scope of work, um, and how we apply it to our behaviors, our behavioral addictions, um, procrastinating, complaining. Overwhelm can be an addiction. These different states can become our comfort zone, and they can be as addictive, if not more, than a drink or a drug, because they are more accepted, right? You don't have to go to rehab because of procrastination, right? You might not blow up your relationship or your parenting because of a behavioral addiction with overwhelm or procrastination or playing small or shrinking or hiding. Those can 100% be addictions, and they don't have the same consequences as some of the more common, like well-known addictions that we place shame on in our society, like drugs, alcohol, sex, food. These behavioral addictions can be much more accepted and also much more detrimental because they are so accepted. And so we're going to go over best practices for working with addictive patterns, how to really help people to release the safety blanket that can be our addictions and the things that we hold on to protect us. Um, we're going to go into a bit of trauma and spirituality, really looking at the path of least resistance, really looking at how we need to heal trauma through spiritual awakening and spiritual growth. We're going to touch on spiritual bypassing and just deeper awareness. We're going to look at trauma and spirituality as it relates to the different nervous systems, the gut, the brain, the body, the energy centers, and how to really move through that and reconnect them with tools, with frameworks. We're going to do just touch on past life and presence and kind of like this existential and esoteric methodology around trauma and birth and life and death. Again, there are specific programs that go much deeper on some of these specialized topics, but we're going to give you a working knowledge of it so that you're aware of it when it comes up in your client work, in your work with your communities and your programs and your clients. And then we will bring it all together in the safe embodiment method. We're going to go through the process of really how to be in your sessions with your client work, how to create your programs and your packages, how to really have a framework for moving through a program that you're creating, moving through even your one-on-one work with that intention in mind, how to go through the aspects of that trauma informed tracker that I shared a few lives ago, how to go deeper in each of those aspects, how to really ground and orient and resource, allow the trigger to be there for it to come up, and then unpack it, integrate it, right? Have really cultivated discernment for you and your client. We're going to go through origin point therapy, the process, that's proprietary process that I created. You're going to have access to that for yourself and for your work with clients. We're going to go through how to really come back to some root causes for people so that you can unravel in a more succinct way, but that is also spacious enough so people can feel like they are held and safe as they do the deeper work. We're going to move towards just deeper resolution around um, integrating the stuck points, the old traumas that have been processed and unpacked but need deeper integration. We're going to use the embodiment method to do that work. You'll have diagrams and scripts and PDFs to support you in working through the frameworks and the methods. We're also going to do our um, business section on how to really take the trauma informed frameworks, how to cultivate your own methods and create whatever you're wanting, how you're wanting to work with people. So creating the vehicle for your work, whether that is one-on-one or group program or a signature program or an evergreen program, whatever you're wanting to create, we're going to help you put it in this trauma informed lens so that you're creating your work in a trauma informed way. We're going to go over trauma informed business practices, marketing, communication, programs, boundaries for yourself, boundaries for clients, helping you to really tap into the ways that you work best. So we will support you in getting clear on your Enneagram, to personality test to help see how you work best and what lights you up. We're going to work through a little bit of human design just in terms of like what's going to be most beneficial for you. Is it group? Is it one-on-one? How do you want to apply the certification in your work? How do you want to apply the frameworks and the methods in what you're creating in the world? And how can we take this information, this knowledge, these tools, and create the thing that you're wanting to create based on that? So we'll have 3 calls a month. We will be off the 4th week of the month. Our calls are going to be on Mondays. We're going to do a quick poll. Once everyone gets signed up, we'll open up the group, the Facebook group. We'll do a poll and see. There's 2 times that it can be. So we'll do a poll and see which time is better for the majority of people. We will go over the requirement for how to become a certified practitioner with a safe trauma practice method. And there is, Diana, I see you, honey. There will be practice hours that you'll need to get with practice clients to implement the methods into your work. Me see you doing that work, integrating the frameworks, and giving you feedback on that. There's going to be some requirements for the certification part of it. It's not going to be super extensive this round, but I do need to know that you can apply the framework, that you know it, that you can implement it, and that you are comfortable working with it. And so there's going to be proven strategies to really support your clients in moving forward, support yourself in moving forward. You're going to have support from myself, from other support coaches in the program. You're really going to be able to elevate your confidence and your clarity around your work, and that being through the lens of a trauma informed framework. We're really going to work on the confidence formula, I call it, to help you feel more confident in the work that you're doing and how you're bringing it into the world. We're going to have access to my origin point therapy that I support people with. That's transformational, right? Really helps people to unpack unconscious beliefs, unconscious stuck points. We're going to go over integrated processing methods to help people who, again, are not in an acute phase of their trauma, but they're aware of it. They've done work around it. It is managed, and they're wanting to go deeper in healing the imprint. There's integrating processing methods that help you do that, and you will have access to those methods in the program. Early bird pricing is still available for 2 more days. So the 8th is when that ends at midnight. I encourage you to apply. I'll drop the application link below. No obligation to apply. This program is for you if you're ready to move forward in owning your gifts, if you're ready to move forward in your next bold step in your business and bringing your great work to the world unapologetically. Sometimes what holds us back is our just not being confident in what we're doing, not trusting it, and having the frameworks and the methods to do whatever work that you're doing, to do whatever methods that you are currently working with, your own proprietary methods, the methods that you've become certified in. therapy, breath work, Reiki, all sorts of things, coaching, really being able to take what you're currently doing with clients and put it in a framework that helps you feel more confident, feel more prepared, feel more equipped to support people, and really getting transformation. Whenever we're talking about transformation, we're talking about people healing more deeply on some level. We can't do that work we can't do it well and in integrity without really working through the tenets of emotional mastery and psychological safety. I'm passionate about this work because I felt like I was on a wild goose chase trying to find um, how to really create a trauma informed framework, how to use it well. I felt like there was really no good instruction out there if I didn't want to take on like 15 different modalities and methods and like all sorts of things. There wasn't a place to really go and learn what the actual framework is for trauma informed care, right? That's usually a more clinical approach, but how to really bring that into the coaching industry so people feel held and safe as they do their own work and support people in doing their own work in a safe way, but that is still effective, that is still competent, and that still gets people results, right? That gets them emotional freedom, that gets them moving past their traps, their hazards, their insecurities, their blind spots, their ego having control over what they're doing, right? Being trapped in fear and sabotage and holding oneself back. These are all things that I feel like there are so many amazing, talented coaches in the industry who support people in this deeper work. And it would be so much more effective and safe if done through a trauma informed framework where we're really prioritizing people learning emotional mastery so that they aren't dependent on anyone. They can go inward to get their answers, to create fine tuning, to really get clear, and then choose to have guides and mentors who walk with them because they desire the support, not because they need it, because something is wrong with them or because they feel incapable. You're not. And this program is going to help you tap into that confidence, tap into that mastery, and tap into putting the tools that you love and the frameworks that you already love into a trauma informed framework so that your own emotional mastery can thrive, so that your own psychological safety can thrive, and so you can create that for the people that you want to work with, that you want to support, that you want to bless with your gifts and your skill sets. This work is powerful. It's so needed. There needs to be a safe place for people to go to learn these methods, to practice them, to really get really good at it and be able to do it as easy as breathing or brushing your teeth. And that can happen. That can happen. I'm honored to be your guide on this journey. I'm honored to share what's taken me close to 2 decades to really learn and master and embody and distill down into a program that can teach it to you in implementable ways, in tangible ways, and in ways that leaves you feeling like you are a badass because you are, and that you are supporting people in their transformation and in their elevation in good ways, in ways that are full of integrity, that are full of ethical practice, and that can even be fun, right? It doesn't have to be such drudgery to heal and to create the ripple effects in the world that we desire. I love you so much. Um, I will be back. Let's see. I will go live tomorrow and we will just unpack some of the framework that is the trauma informed framework. We'll go over any questions that you have. If you have personal questions, please DM me and I'll get back to you. Also, I would encourage you to apply so that you can get your application in and qualify for early bird savings. The price does increase on Friday, so you don't want to wait. You don't want to put it off. You want to get the application in. No obligation to apply. I will share with you if I feel it's the best fit for you now or what could possibly support you in doing some work around, A, B, and C now, and then jump into next year's cohort if it's a fit for you. I want this to be a win-win. I want this to be your next step in your expansion, in your integration, and really your thriving, doing the work that you came here to do. There's no reason why you need to hold back. There's a way to do it that's impactful and that can support you financially. And I'm here to support you in doing that. And so I'll drop the application link below. If you have any questions, DM me, and I'll be back tomorrow. We'll go over a bit more of the framework. We'll go over any questions that you have. I would encourage you, if you are on the replay, checking this out, if you know someone who would be interested in this work, who you feel like they do amazing work and they may be interested in doing a deeper trauma-informed dive around the work that they're doing, I would encourage you to send them my way. I will be doing an affiliate commission. So if someone signs up and they give me your name that you referred them, you will get a $500 commission. And so that is a win-win for sure. And if the work supports you, I would appreciate you sharing it, so folks can just find more ways to really work with someone who is trauma informed, where they can learn to do this same work with what they're doing, right, in a more embodied, holistic way. It's my heart, it's my passion. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. When you're on the replay, #replay, so I know that you're here, so I can celebrate you and showing up and being a part of the healing revolution. I will see you more and talk more with you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Bye.